Are you a witch or a spiritual person and you're curious about funerals? That's coming up right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mel. I'm from Mel's Divination. I'm the creator, the owner, the operator. So before we get into today's topic, I want to stop and just introduce it quickly and give you guys a trigger warning because it is going to be a hard subject. Some of you guys know me. Who are you? If you're new, you don't know me, and I will get into all the introductions and stuff after, but I want to do a trigger warning right now before we do anything else. This is going to be about death. This is going to be about funerals. This is going to be about religious practices, okay? So if you have any triggers around that at all, if you are not in an emotional solid state, please click out of this video. Save it for later if you're still curious and you might want to come back to it. Do not watch this. I will understand, okay? That is your warning right here and now because it is going to be a heavy topic. All right, with that said, let's get going. So thank you for joining me, friends of old and friends of new. If you like this video or any of my content, please support me by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, or maybe checking out my Amazon wish list or ordering a reading from me or coaching session. My name is Mel. I am the creator of this channel. I try to post every Wednesday on any kind of witchy, spiritual, or tarot-based content. So today is going to be a rough one, guys. And I do like to write about controversial stuff. I do get inspired. I am a Scorpio through and through, and I do not shy from the hard stuff. I went to a funeral this last week, and for those of you that have been following my channel for a while, you will know that I was raised Catholic. My entire family is Catholic. They all know that I am a witch and that I am a spiritual practitioner. They don't know to what extent, some of them, but they do know I am. So that I'm not in the witch closet, okay? I'm not in the broom closet. But I went to a family member passed away, and I went to a funeral, a Catholic Christian funeral this week. And it thoroughly inspired this topic today that we are going to be talking about. Again, trigger warning, if you are not comfortable with this kind of conversation, please leave now. All right, so somebody did also ask about being a Christian and a witch, which is also something that I will be covering in the very, very near future. Lately, I've been finding all kinds of inspiration to do videos, and that is on my list, but I want to do it due diligence as I am not a Christian witch, so I am doing research, and I want to do, it's going to take me a bit longer to put together the information for that video, but it is upcoming. So I am not a Christian or a Catholic. I am going to link above the video where I do talk about why I left the church, but there is nothing wrong with being Catholic and a witch, or Christian and a witch, or some other religion and a witch. I just am not that person, and it is completely fine doing those things. It's just not who I am. So, however, I come from a very grounded family that is Irish, Italian, Catholic, as I've mentioned in previous videos. Check it out. And so when somebody passes away in my family, that is how they mourn. And I am, of course, going to go and pay my respects. Some people I know that are witches or of spiritual like, they choose not to go to those things. And that is to each their own, so don't follow what I do. Do what you feel is best for you. If you are a witch and you are not of religion, you choose, or even if you are of religion, a Wicca religion of some kind, a witch religion, and you don't follow a Christian faith or Abrahamic faith, and they choose to do a religion type service, and you are not comfortable, don't go. I may start leaning towards the I don't want to go to these things anymore. I'm not sure. This last experience was pretty hard on me. Not so much because of the death itself, but because of what was preached during the Mass. So for those of you that are not Catholic, are not Christian, and are not familiar with the way that this process is, typically when somebody passes away, a Catholic Christian type of funeral type of situation traditionally goes, there's a wake and then there's a funeral, okay, for this person. The wake is typically takes place, at least in my experience, I can't speak for everybody, but in my experience, the wake is for several hours where the person is laid out in a casket or where there's ashes or something like that, and it's kind of like a procession where everybody comes in and they say a prayer in front of the casket or the ashes or whatever, and then they go and they say their heartfelt I'm sorry's to the family or next of kin, and then they stay or they go. It's really up to them, but it's their way to say goodbye. And there's not a lot of praying that is done at the wake. It's more of like a viewing to say goodbye to the body, to say goodbye to the person, to say goodbye. And there's usually several hours of that. Now, what comes after that, usually it's at a funeral home. I've never seen it anywhere else besides a funeral home. Then, and every religion is different, so I can only speak for what I've experienced. I think other religions do it differently. Now, the way that this one was that sometimes the wakes are done before, a few hours before, sometimes they're done a few nights before, it all depends. Then there's a funeral, usually either the next day or a few hours later, and that is typically done at a church. Not always. Sometimes there's like a small service at the funeral home. It very much depends on each individual family, expenses, etc., what kind of money has been put aside for this service, that kind of thing. And so in this experience, it was at a church. And I have not been to a church service, I want to say in 5 years. The last one was also a funeral. The last one was also a family member, and it was in a church. But this family member was a little bit detached from me. It was a family member's significant other, and I didn't know them super well. So I was grieving much more in the last situation than I was here. And I'm wondering if that's why this service really bothered me so much. This specific service really bothered me, sitting through this Mass. So I don't know if it's because it's been 5 years and the Catholic faith has changed a bit, the way they present things. I don't know if it's because I wasn't grieving as hard and I was actually listening to the words being said, or if it's just I'm so deep in my practice now. It could be so many factors. I can't tell you guys specifically, but or it could just be this specific church. But they were very much preaching to the people sitting through this Mass about how this individual who has passed away, the only way his soul will get into heaven is because of our prayers, of the people that were sitting there. Their prayers will help usher him into heaven. And the priest there is there. The only reason why the priest is there is to bring him into heaven. And the only way he's going to get into heaven, and the only way any of us would get into heaven, is by being a good Catholic. And I understand that's the concept behind the Catholic religion, but it was very much like, it was really heavy about, well, he's not going to hell. And he literally said this. He's not going to hell because he was a good Catholic and because you're here to pray for his soul and because I'm here to usher him into heaven. And I just felt it was really a horrible thing to say to people that were grieving. It was like trying to convert non-believers. It was trying to scare non-believers because obviously there were people, I mean, I have an uncle that is not Catholic, and I'm sure there were other friends and other people there that were not Catholic, and it wasn't about the life of this man as much as this priest was talking about how you better be a Catholic, you better be praying on a weekly basis, because if you don't show up to church and if you don't do these things, you're going to be in hell. and it was very fear-mongering, and it infuriated me, to be honest. And I apologize to those people out there who are Christians and Catholics, because I know that some of you guys are, and you are watching, and I am sorry if I'm insulting you. I do apologize. However, like this situation is supposed to be saying goodbye to this man's soul, and you're just like trying to scare people that are sitting here mourning him. And it was very upsetting to me to hear that. The rest of the service wasn't bad. Some of the quotes were very dark and very heavy, instead of like, oh, he will be okay and he'll be with God or whatever. I didn't like some of the quotes that were picked, but again, I'm not sure who picked those. I'm not sure. That's not my business. But this time it was hard. It was much harder than it has been in the past to sit through. And it got me thinking. It got me thinking about what I want when I pass away. It got me thinking about what my viewers might think about things like this. And I decided to do this video. So this video is, again, going to be a bit longer because I had to tell this backstory. But years ago, I had decided to do some research and do some donations to different non-profit foundations that I really wanted to support. And one of them that I found, and that's what I'm holding that I keep flapping around, that I wanted to share with you guys is something called Freedom from Religion Foundation. So the website, and I'm going to write it when I edit down here, is ffrf.org. freedomfromreligionfoundation.org. Now, some of their stuff is really radical because it's about separating church and state in the United States and not joining that. And some of it's a little extreme. So I do want to warn you guys about that. But the thing I really like that they have on their website is they have an entire section, and I've saved it for myself so that I can prepare things, about secular memorials and funerals without God. So I don't want to have, personally, this, I'm sharing my personal wishes and my personal thoughts on this. And again, you guys are spiritual people, witches and spiritual ones of the like, and some of you are Christian and Catholic and or other Abrahamic religions, and that is totally your jam and absolutely to each their own. But if you are like me and you don't want a Christian Catholic type of funeral ending of your life, because that's not who you are, what else is there? How are you going to do that? So I found this like an amazing resource, and it really kind of walks through a whole way of how you can lay it out that you would like to have a funeral, how you can be remembered, how you can be honored, poems that are non-God related, poems that are non-Christian, things that will honor your life, music that would be great, and a whole different way to go about it without pulling in the Christianity piece of it. So I wanted to offer that resource to you guys because I've had that literally saved as a bookmark, and I actually donated some money to them a long time ago because I found it was like a really, if they don't get donations, they don't exist. So I found it was a really fascinating and good place that exists in that needs to exist in our country, as far as I was concerned anyway. So I'm not a member or anything. There's member status. I'm not a member. I'm not affiliated with them. I just found that it was something that I wanted to know about and wanted to learn, and I was really thankful that it was a resource that existed out there. So I wanted to share this with you, and I wanted to open this community up to ask you guys as well. Those of you that aren't in the broom closet, those of you that are open and non-Christian, how do you celebrate somebody's life? What would you plan for your, and I know this is really morbid, but this is my platform and I wanted to ask you guys because it's something that I've been thinking about a little bit, and I've never been to something that is a spiritual type of funeral or wake, because where I live, I don't have a lot of local people that are like that. And I'm just curious what you guys have thought of. Like, have you thought of what you would want for yourself if you've passed? Have you ever been to something where somebody did pass and they weren't Christian related and they did something really nice and you liked it? What are your thoughts around all of this? Have you experienced anything? Have you planned anything for yourself? Do you have resources that you would share for people? So that's all I really wanted to put out there, was to start a conversation. Please comment down below. Don't shame anybody. That is not what this is about. Like I said, I love my family and they are all Christian. They are all Catholic, and that comforts them in this kind of thing. Funerals are for the living, really. But if I passed away tomorrow, my family, who I love deeply, would have a Catholic mass for me. And I would not love that. So I want to figure out a way to have that set up so that would not be what I'm remembered last about. I'm not Catholic. So I'm just curious, guys, what do you think? And I am sorry for this being really heavy, but I felt like it was a really important topic. I've never seen anybody talk about it on any videos, on any platform. And if there are videos that you've seen that would be resourceful, feel free to link them down below or share them, because it's all about information here. That's all I'm into. That's what I'm looking for, sharing information. I hope this helped you guys. I hope it got your brains thinking. And that's really all it was meant to do today. I'm not trying to outrage anybody, to each their own, right? So thank you for your input. Thank you for your information. Thank you for your time today. If you liked this, share it, subscribe. I might add buy me a coffee down on my links below. I'm not sure yet. And I will hopefully talk to you guys all in the next video. See you. Bye.